Hey guys, what's going on? Today we are with one of my past clients, Jeff. Jeff, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And today we're just going to be going through the story of how I helped Jeff and his wife Elizabeth sell their home. Back when was it? Was it
January of last year?
January of last year. And the whole backstory, how we got to here, and just really show you guys kind of the differences between some of the options out there in the real estate market today and some of the offers that we can provide to you guys. So first, Jeff, would you mind introducing yourself to everybody at home?
My name's Jeff Barber. I lived in El Paso for 28 years. My wife had health issues, so we had to move to a lower elevation, hence our move out of El Paso.
Yeah. And so how long were you at your previous house?
28 years.
28 years. So you were there 28 years, and then after some time, the health issues were becoming a concern, and you said you had to make a move?
Absolutely.
Right. And so I'm sure you did some research before you went on the market. Tell me a little bit about that. What got you intrigued in the discount broker, and kind of like that whole backstory?
Did a lot of research on Zillow. We looked at a lot of comps in terms of what had been selling in the Mountain Park area. Mm-hmm. Our house was somewhat unique as it backed onto the mountain.
Beautiful property.
We're about 600 feet from the state park and very close to the entrance to the state park, which was a plus. It was difficult to quantify those sort of things. Mm-hmm. When we looked at the market was kind of hot at that time, and everybody had, when just the word got out that we were going to sell, we had agents knocking on our door seeking listings, and it was going to sell in one day. It was going to sell in 1 week. Where the presentations, much to, if I had to do it over, I would have done things differently, Kenneth, because when I was looking at paying a 6% commission, and it's going to sell in 2 days, or it's going to sell absolutely within a week, I engaged the services of a discount broker, and it just didn't work. The entire 6-month contract with the discount broker, it brought me probably 100 mostly unqualified clients. We had multiple offers, but each and every one required owner financing.
Right, yeah.
Every single one owner financing, and I'm 70 years old. I just wasn't in a position. We had minimal mortgage, and a long-term owner financing just wasn't feasible.
Right, yeah.
The 6-month contract, and they did bring me offers, but it wasted 6 months of my time, Kenneth. And you and I got together about 2 weeks after my contract expired, and we decided no, we weren't going to do another 6 months with a discount broker. And you and I got together. Yeah,
so a little bit, just a backstory about what's going through your head. So you're thinking, okay, the market's super hot. There's no point in paying 6%. It's going to sell quickly. What was the offer what was the offer with the discount broker? Was it like a flat fee for 6 months, or what did that look like?
It was a flat fee and a real minuscule percentage, as I recall it. I think it was
like 1 or 2%.
Exactly. I think it was like $500 up front to cover the MLS fee, and then I think it was 2%, as I recall.
Okay. And did they do anything other than putting it up on the MLS?
No, that was their total marketing plan. It was nothing. They promised they'd put it in the MLS. We took the photographs, and that was one of the spectacular things about doing business with you. Your photographer absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, he took some really beautiful photos. We'll put some up on screens here and take a look at those. But yeah, Art does amazing work. He's been doing it for years. So he's a go-to guy for all my real estate photos. So we see that you kind of got some traction, but a lot of unqualified people, a lot of people who want you to owner finance.
Yep.
After that, had you interviewed any other agents before you listed with me? Was there anybody else that you maybe talked to?
Oh yes, once the day or two after the discount broker listing contract expired, we had people cold calling, knocking on our door. We had numerous phone calls. I'd say I talked to at least a dozen agents, and when you and I got together in person, you were in a class by yourself in terms of how you presented yourself, how you presented your marketing plan. Your IT skills were just nobody. I mean, I've been in El Paso 20 years, and I knew many agents through the Chamber of Commerce and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and nobody had the skill sets that you had.
Thank you. I first started my career in digital advertising back in 2017, right out of high school, and just kind of learning along the way, helping local business owners, generate more leads. And then I finally got into real estate at the start of 2020. And once those two puzzle pieces click, like it doesn't matter if I'm selling socks or houses or toothbrushes, like marketing is marketing, right? So once I was able to connect those two pieces of, okay, like most agents that are at the top of their game, right, so to speak, that do a lot of volume, they've been doing the same thing for 20 years. So it wasn't hard to, when I came in, I looked at all the marketing plans of the top agents and just said, okay, how can I 10X this? How can I make it better than everybody else? And is that something that you saw stood out to you, like the amount of marketing, or was it just like the knowledge of specific pieces?
The ability to target. To a person. I think every single prospective client that came through my home was a qualified buyer. So again, not only did you help me make more net profit, you saved me so much time. Kenneth, you've probably forgotten, but you accomplished more in 7 days than my discount broker did in 6 months. And I'm not saying that to boost your ego, it's just the facts.
Yeah, and I know you have some of the numbers. I'd love to share it with everybody. So with the discount broker, you were with them for about 6 months.
6 months, right? Exactly.
And had a handful of offers, but all unqualified, basically time wasters, right?
Exactly.
Tire kickers. And one of the things that we talk about a lot with our clients is like, look, every house has the perfect buyer, right? And so we really try to dive deep into what's their profession, what's their income levels, what are their interests. And we did see that come through the door with your property.
Absolutely.
We had doctors.
We had doctors. We had people with one of the things that you capitalized on was the fact that we were 6 houses away from the entrance to the state park. And I forget how you did that, but people that were interested in the outdoors. We had one of our first offers, and way above our ask was a doctor that had been mountain biking and had seen my house from the state park. And then you reached out, I don't know how, but you reached out to him, and he was one of the first people, I think it was the first or second day we were on the MLS, he came through. And do you remember it was 15 or 20,000 above ask that he wrote a contract for?
I think it was 15 or 20,000. And the way we actually did that was with the interest-based targeting. So, we know obviously if your house was right backed up to a mountain, beautiful, amazing, stunning property. So we knew, okay, somebody who lives here is probably going to be either a family, somebody who likes mountain biking, hiking, probably likes the outdoors, probably has pets, maybe dogs that they like to take on walks. And
that's what you brought in my door starting on day one of it was when it hit the MLS. You were calling me, Jeff, can I bring somebody over here? I mean I mean that's the way it was. It was
4 or 5 calls that one day, the first day.
And then it went ballistic after that. It was just nonstop.
And one thing I do want to mention is because a lot of people during that time, to be fair, the market was hot.
It was.
But one thing we have to consider is the fact that in one of the hottest markets that El Paso has ever seen, your house was on the property for 6 months. And even though the market was hot, with the wrong marketing, it's just tire kickers, owner financing, right? Not qualified prospective buyers. And once we shifted that and really started targeting the ideal customer, that's when you saw
it was a different world, Kenneth. You've probably forgotten, but the first 7 days we were on the market with you, 63 showings. 63, Kenneth. We had people there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we had people there at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
There were, and you've probably forgotten, because some of the agents, they were doing open houses a block or two from my home, and said, hey, wait, let's go by. We had one Sunday afternoon, we had 3 families waiting outside our home where the agent stopped by. Can you fit us in, please?
Yeah.
I mean, it was, yeah, we have one family in the house, and yeah, it'll be about 15 minutes. No, my prospect wants to see your home.
Yeah.
And so we just fit them in. I said, you remember, I'd call you, Kenneth, I had so-and-so and so-and-so. Somebody from Remax brought her client in, and so-and-so.
Yeah.
And it just went like that.
It just snowballed.
It did.
Yeah.
63, in 7 days, 63 showings, 7 offers, 5 above ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
It was really rapid, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, beyond our wildest expectations, after 6 months,
yeah,
our problem, or our goal, was to sell the house. And again, Kenneth, you brought me so much more in an offer. I made so much more money working with Kenneth Lopez than I did with the discount broker, let alone you saved me 6 months.
Oh yeah, the time is the biggest thing, and that's why we really, the first initial week or two of the house being on the market, we just absolutely put a lot of our marketing budget into that initial boost, because what we want to see is what we had with your property, right? A line out the door. Because when we have a line out the door, clients are going to see, oh man, there's 4 or 5 other buyers here. What do you
At
think?
the same time, and it's kind of contagion from a marketing standpoint.
And so the agents are whispering in their buyers' ears, hey, it's going to be competitive. If you want this property, you make a really good offer. And that gave us a lot of leverage. I mean, we didn't have to do a million repairs. We didn't have to come down on price, or, I mean, we got you guys really flexible terms as well, right? I think.
Yeah, they waived all of the inspections. I mean, my God, above market, waived all the inspections.
And then, did we do an extended closing or a lease back? It was something
No, we
of
did.
that nature,
We
right?
did a lease back to give us time to get out.
Yeah. So you got the funds, and you still had, what was it?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Almost a month to finalize everything, which is really nice, because now you have the funds in your pocket.
Yep.
You have the availability to hire movers, get everything in order, whatever it is, right?
I mean, and the service after the sale, Kenneth. Again, I've been in sales and marketing for over 40 years. The service that you provided to Elizabeth and I is second to none.
Thank you. Yeah, and we really do try our best to do that. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, we saw a gap in the market where people said, well, realtors were like, oh, the market's hot, so I'm going to take some photos on my iPhone, throw it up on the MLS, and 2 minutes it'll sell. I have very little cost in the deal, and, I'm going to make a big commission, right? And so we kind of flipped it on its head and said, you know what? The only way we can guarantee top dollar for our clients and truly feel good about what we do, like ethically, is to maximize the exposure. Because the more eyeballs, the better the offers, the more in your pocket, right? So we're just like, you know what? We're just going to leverage it as much as we can, put as much time and effort and energy as we can to getting the max amount of the people there at the house, and the rest of it will take care of itself. And that's something that we definitely saw with your property.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a value equation. What I'm trying to convey is that with Kenneth Lopez, nobody else brings the IT combination of real estate and IT to the benefit of their clients. And I've got probably around an extra $10,000 net in my pocket, having retained you and had the opportunity to work with you.
Yeah, and that's really the most amazing thing ever that I like to hear, is because at the end of the day, a lot of realtors are, I hate to say, but they're just in it for the wrong reasons. And for me, that's why we do what we do in terms of the amount of work we truly put into like every single listing that we ever have, is because the only way I can sleep at night, and because I know, like, the one thing that would bother me is if I know I left money on the table for you, right? Because that you guys were in that home 28 years, you said.
Yep.
You've been in it for a long time. You want to maximize your equity. You want to maximize your investment. And at the end of the day, it's, one of your largest assets. I mean, it's my job to protect that. And for me, I just don't feel good laying my head down at night knowing that I could have done more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for a lot of realtors, they're just like looking for a quick buck. They want to do the least amount of work, most amount of commission. And when we truly just leverage that and say, you know what, no, we're going to put as much effort as we can into it, we see amazing results like we saw with your property. So that's beyond anything that's what makes me the happiest, to know that we got you more money at the end of the day. We saved you time, we saved you effort, we saved you headache, right, of all these
Stress,
tire kickers.
yes.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, just a better deal overall for you for on a financial sense, but also in terms of even after the sale, like you said, right? We got that lease back. That made the move a whole lot easier.
Oh,
I'm sure, right?
Again, reduce the stress level, 98%.
Mm-hmm. And let me ask you, because I know you said you talked to a couple other realtors, did you see anything that came like remotely close to the amount of marketing that we did, or anything that came like, oh, well, I heard one realtor say this and you guys didn't offer it, but, anything like that?
Not really close. And to your point, we had one young woman came up, and I asked her about her marketing plan, and just the antithesis of Kenneth Lopez is, I don't have a marketing plan. I take pictures and put it in the MLS. That was her marketing plan, was, again, the quick, it got beautiful mountain view, it's got a swimming pool, it's going to sell in a week, I don't need to do anything, I just need to put it in the MLS without a discount broker, and it'll sell. And there are agents that knew Mountain Park, had marketed properties in Mountain Park, and they may have moved more property in Mountain Park than you had at the time, but they didn't bring. That was their own. This is what I've done. How did you get there? They couldn't tell me.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is balloons. Balloons isn't a mark. No, I'm serious. That I'm going to put balloons up, and having worked in sales most of my life, no, balloons aren't going to sell the house.
Yeah. The biggest thing is just attention, and I mean, balloons are it's like the lowest rung on the ladder, right?
Thank
it's just
you.
like you need something more these days, right? Most people are on their phones, most people are on social media, so you want to have a way that you can target these people. And like we said, not just target just anybody in the city, but specific people of specific occupations, specific interests, behaviors, demographics. And that's really the way to achieve the best results that we found. And that's funny that you bring that up about the balloons, because I was going to mention that as well. I remember you telling me that, this is an actual marketing plan. What we heard before from other realtors was just like, oh, we might do an open house, we might have some balloons, we might have, just really basic stuff that really wasn't going to move the needle, right?
Right. And the thing is, with the changes in the market from a year ago, the value equation, what you bring to the table, is even more important. I mean, if I was in El Paso selling my house now, probably the value you provide, because there aren't as many prospects out there. So you need the skill sets that if I was selling today, I would need you that much more, Kenneth, because you've got the skills, you can bring the right, you need, instead of maybe 60 plus buyers, maybe it's 30, but if you get the deal, that you get the solution you're looking for, you get your ask or close to your ask in today's market. It's a win-win for the seller, for the buyer, and for you.
Yeah, and that's really true. Now with the changing times, like interest rates are up, there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. A lot of people are worried about buying, and now more than ever, you have to learn how to target that qualified buyer, right? If not, you're just going to be spinning your wheels. And that's one of the things that I tell clients all the time. It's like, look, I may not have the most volume. I haven't been doing this for 20 years. I haven't, been in real estate as long as some of these other guys. But just because you've been in real estate 20 years doesn't mean you have 20 years of experience, right? You could have got the same lesson 20 years in a row. Right?
1 year's experience times 20.
Exactly, right? And another thing too is the average agent does about 4 deals a year. So considering those metrics, I have, at the time of this recording, almost 9 years of transaction experience if you consider that 4 years, 4 deals is about a year.
Yeah.
Right. So transaction wise, I've just learned a lot faster. I've learned what works and what doesn't work just a lot quicker because the volume that I've done, that mixed with my background in marketing that was already there, it just kind of was the perfect combination to really, really skyrocket things.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who's watching this right now and they're like, well, it sounds good, but I mean, I'm looking at this kid who's young, 24 years old, and I'm looking at, the 40-year-old agent who's been doing this for so long. I mean, and they're just kind of on the fence. They don't know which way to go. I mean, what would you say to them?
One word: results. The results. That the agent that's been doing that 40 years, he is not going to drive 63 showings in a week. You talk to anyone around the entire country, 63 showings your first week on the market. People, who are you dealing with? What are they doing?
Yeah.
You may recall a good friend of mine owns 2 Coldwell Banker offices, and she was saying, "Oh my God, I wish I had him on my team." Nobody does that. She has 2, one in Tampa and one in the Boston area. She says, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But you did it.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
If you just look at what you've done and look at the other clients that you've helped when you've listed their property, you have the skill set to reduce the client's stress, get them the best value, and structure a win. One of the things about Kenneth Lopez, you look for a win-win. You're getting paid by us, the listing party, yet you have a great ability to sort through the contracts. Where can we get a win-win? You may remember, we had a couple higher offers. But this was the best deal for us and for the buyer.
Right.
And they just raved about you. Said this couldn't have happened if you hadn't been the listing agent.
Yeah, and thank you for all the kind words. And it's amazing to hear even the backstory of like what other agents were saying. And I think what really stuck out to me was that like I said, we're not a huge team. I mean, it's me and a handful of people that manage all the listings. So I have a guy for my photography, a guy for my staging, a guy for my cleaning, just like kind of different parties for different things. But in terms of the marketing side of things, like it's just me. And one of the things I always warn my clients of is like, look, you can go with, the guy who does the most volume. But the thing is like, to them, you're just another number. You're one of maybe 50 or 100 listings. They're not really going to take the time to really figure out, okay, who's the right buyer for this property? How are we going to target this person? And if I have 2-3 listings in that neighborhood, I'm competing with myself to a certain degree. So we never like to take more 1 or 2 listings in one neighborhood, just because we don't like to compete with our own marketing.
Understood.
And so it really just gives us focus, right? Like, this is our listing, this is what we're going to focus on, and it makes it a whole lot easier. And then also, like we said with the offer breakdown, right? Most agents, they're just going to go through and, all right, let's get the net sheet. Which one makes the most? Okay, this is who you should go with. And like you said, we had some higher offers, but after breaking it down and we talked to the lender to see how strong of a pre-qualification. Have they looked at credit? Have they looked at income?
Yeah.
Have they ran all the numbers to make sure that we don't have any surprises, 3 weeks into the contract?
Yeah.
Also, who's the most flexible with terms, right? Who seems like, they're going to be a headache. They're going to ask for 1,000,001 repairs. They're going to just expect a brand new pristine house when it's a used home. And, when we truly go into those things, right, terms, how flexible they're going to be in terms of ease to work with. I mean, it's clear which ones are winners, but you got to take the time to call the lender,
to weed through it.
Them. Yes.
That's it, everybody. If you have any doubts about whether or not Kenneth can help you, please give me a call. I'm a raving fan because he's the best.